Hi everyone. A slightly different session this morning for the mini lecture in the Sports Sponsorship and Media unit, because you're fortunate enough today to have one of the practitioners meeting with me, and not only a practitioner but a person who's been through the University of Canberra, a person who did his degree here, mainly in sport media, and so it's with a lot of pleasure that I've asked Ben Pollack if he would come in. Ben's the media manager for the Canberra Raiders. For people who tune into this beyond the university, Canberra Raiders are one of the most historic, famous rugby league teams in Australia, and a team that has a very strong following in the Australian Capital Territory, the capital city of Australia where it's based. So welcome, Ben.
Thank you, Robin.
I know the students will be really looking forward to this because they're in their third year.
Yep.
And they obviously are considering careers. They're looking at the way they can use what they've learned at university. That's why I was delighted for you when I heard you volunteer the fact that your years at the university had been so good at the University of Canberra, leading to the job you've got. Can we just start off with that?
Mm-hmm.
How did you move to the Canberra Raiders as media manager from being a student?
Well, pretty much it comes from just in the third year of studies here at UC, got an opportunity to work with the club in a work experience capacity. And the big sort of thing I can say about third year university is make sure you get out there and do as much as you can. You might think it's going to be some little insignificant, detail or whatever on your resume, but in the end of the day, when people do look for employment, they look through and see the work that you've done. So the biggest thing is, I suppose, get out there and get involved. And one of the things I did was with the Canberra Raiders. The media manager at the time was a guy by the name of Chris Wilson, who wrote for the Canberra Times initially. Decided that he wanted to go back to the Canberra Times after he'd finished with the Raiders for a season, and then he contacted me and said, "Would you be interested in applying for the role that I'm vacating?" And I did, and then had an interview and got the job, and I've been there this is my 5th year, and I really enjoy it.
So in terms of the job now, what would a typical day or typical week be for you as media manager?
Well, if you talk about in season, which is probably the most important part for us, you'd start with a game on the weekend. Say for instance we'd played on a Saturday night. The first instance would be on the Sunday morning we have a recovery session where the players go there and get checked for medical, do some rehabilitation in the swimming pool here in Canberra. We invite media to come along to that session, sort of a breakdown of the game, interviews with the coach, and key players from the game. Might be someone who scored 3 tries or somebody who's picked up an injury. That's sort of the sort of stuff that they're after content-wise. That's on the Sunday. On a Monday, the players usually have a bit of time off, so we sort of distance ourselves from doing too much on the Monday. Take a lot of phone calls though, in regards to how is this injury? Is he getting scans today? Sure. How long's he out for? Try and tee things up for the week. Get yourself a plan set out. On a Tuesday we do our team announcement, so that's done around the 1 o'clock mark on a Tuesday, where our coach is interviewed by the press, discussing the team for the week, ins and outs, tactical changes, all that type of thing. Wednesday we usually put up a couple of players, get the media involved, interview the players about the upcoming game. Thursday we usually have a day off. Friday is what's called the captain's run, which is the last training session before the game. Yes. So the guys are invited, the media's invited to come along, interview the captain, interview another one of the players, maybe talk to the coach about any last minute changes. We also open the session up for vision and pics and everything, because a very important part of any media is visual. Newspapers like to run fresh photos, TV stations like to run fresh footage, so it's very important that you have that. And then Saturday being the game day, you would do post-match interviews for TV, whether it be Channel 9 or Fox Sports. And then post-game you've got the press conference, which is the captain and coach go and answer questions about the game. So there's something pretty much, it's a 7-day cycle, and it changes depending on when you play. In the National Rugby League you can play anywhere between a Friday and a Monday, so based on that you'll have changes to your schedule.
One of the things that you finished up with was mentioning the press conference. Now this week, as you know, and certainly all of you should and would know because you've been rehearsing for it, we have the media conferences, and these are absolutely realistic. Although they're simulated, are realistic in the sense that students are providing a scenario for the media conference and then presenting these in the tutorials. So now that we've got one of you, as was, and media manager as is, what would you say to the students or to any people engaged with facing a media conference, in terms of the structure and the best way to get your points across?
Preparation's the key, I suppose, to start with. Make sure you know your content, your topic, back to front.
Yeah.
Do a bit of research on anything, possible scenarios that may arise during there. Sort of cover any questions, anything that you think as a journalist you would ask.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself, for that to come back your way. Brief your talent. Make sure that they're up to speed on whatever it is the topic is. Make sure they know the key messages that you're trying to get across and the key points that you want to get out of it. Also, visually, you want to make it look nice. Make sure you've got relevant backdrops up, yes. Sponsorships if it's required. Dress nice. Put a jacket on, shirt and tie if it's a major yes. event type of thing. Definitely say they're the sort of key things. But knowing your topic and briefing your talent are the two sort of main points.
What about handling controversy? Because one of the things that does come up in rugby league
sure does
is the controversy, especially of individual players.
Yes.
And if you're faced with your organisation having to handle some situation
mm-hmm.
which may well be antagonistic in part on behalf of the press or almost voyeuristic,
mm-hmm.
what's your approach then?
Definitely, the key is make sure everybody's from the same page.
Yep.
You need to get together, first of all, find out everything you can about the particular
yes.
incident, find out whether it's if it's a police matter, what they're planning on
yes.
releasing from their end, because the police will have to. I'm just saying this from an experience
sure.
that we've had in the past, unfortunately.
As everyone has.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Police, make sure you get the information from them on what they're looking to release. The next thing is, if it's a police matter and it's got to go to court, you need to prioritise with the legal side of things is the
yes.
first priority. So probably in an initial case, release a statement from the club, letting people know that yes, we do know about this has happened. We're following up on the investigation with along with the police. We'll let you know at a later date when we know more.
Yes.
That takes a lot of the calls that incoming calls
sure.
that want to come in, because everyone initially wants to get something
yes.
on TV or into the radio or into the newspaper. So you need to get something out there quickly, and then it's pretty much based in stages along the way. You need to look at in first instance what the player's done. You don't want
alleged
to have done. Yeah, you
yes.
don't want people from your club coming out and making comment
yes.
that's contrary to
sure.
what the initial message is. So you need to make sure that you have sort of one or two spokespeople on the issue, and they're the only people that talk
yeah.
about it. The rest of the people sort of distance themselves
yes.
from it, particularly the players and coaches.
Yeah.
They don't need to be involved in it. It's not their particular issue, so you're better off leaving them out of it.
Well, folks, that's part one of today. And as they say, don't go away, but wait, there's more. And after this, we'll just have a short break, and then we'll come back, but especially look at links with sponsorship and at the way that Ben would use a particular story to foster interest in the Raiders by getting it into the media.